Matronisa. Careful not to breach the collar. It's a mitzvah that the Kohen should not tear the hem around his neck of his garments, or I suppose any garment, but specifically that you can't destroy anything holy, I suppose. Oh, there's interesting, this is a total side point, but what they used to light up the holy temple in the times of the Simchas Beis HaShoeva was the discarded, used underwear of the Kohanim. They would make that into wicks. Oh my goodness, I never thought about that on the basis of what a wick is in Tanya. A wick is the nefesh Bahamas, the animal side of us. That's the wick that burns and allows the light of the godly soul to shine through. Okay, I'm jumping from topic to topic. Oh, I actually wanted to write that haiku a bit differently. Oh my goodness, I have to change it. I'm going to say it again. Matronisa, careful not to breach the lip. Okay, that's what is supposed to have been said. Remind me to change that if I forget. Oh my goodness. Because when I write a few words of a haiku, I change it and try and get every idea I want in there. So the lip represents malchus, speech. Sfas emes, the lip of truth, Alter Rebbe speaks about. The lip of truth. It's talking about the lip of a garment. It's not the whole garment, it's just the edge of it. It's like, when infinity approaches infinity, it's probably like this circle getting bigger and bigger towards the infinite. And at infinity, it reaches, if it's expanding, right? At the infinity, the tangent for an infinite diameter would be a straight line. Wow, I'm a mathematician, I meant. Okay, so what in the world am I talking about all this stuff? So the Kohen, what's the Kohen? Why does he have a specific mitzvah not to rend the lip of his garment? Does rend mean to tear? Yeah, I think so. I'm going to bring in another idea because I want it to resonate here too. I keep going back to my mantra in my head. Is this Ad sheyiblu sifsei seicha miloi mardai, until their lips are parched from saying enough already. God, it's enough. Imagine being able to say that. That's the diameter of infinity, whose tangent, or not his tangent's on, oh my goodness, it's in parallel to its circumference. That's what happens at infinity. Oh my goodness, think about that. Okay, I'm not a mathematician. I'm just trying to envision. I'm trying to make a mashal, some type of analogy for me to understand what it means that the finite is going to immerse ourselves in the infinite. So here's a mathematical equation using geometry. If you're geometrically inclined. So it's like your lips are going to parch from saying enough. Can you imagine ever saying enough? I've had people get angry with me about this idea. It bothers them so much that they could think that through the suffering that they go through, or the Jewish people, by extension, by vicariously or inclusively, then you feel the suffering for the whole world. So those people don't think it's possible. Why do they don't think it's possible for God to console the suffering? Okay? Or they can't imagine a scenario, because I've spoken about this a few times because I thought it was fascinating. They can't envision how it's possible that you're going to ever say enough to God. Enough blessings, enough consolation. That's because we can't fathom infinity. That's the simple reason. It's impossible to. So a sensitive person gets bothered by this and they express it that way. But you have to have faith. Faith is the key to all of everything, right? Always, obviously. It's always about faith. Chabad is about bringing that faith into communicative ideas so you could share it with another person, right? It's all about sharing. Look at today's a Yom Yom. Fascinating. You give before you daven, you give. You got to unite with your brothers, right? Matronisa, careful not to breach the lip. I actually wrote it right on my page, but I don't think I typed it right here. Maybe I did. The whole thing's just I can't see it. I don't have all my technology spread out. I'd rather be in a nice park where I could think of what a matronisa is. Okay, this is Malchus. Okay, so I wanted to actually, I'm jumping around things, I realize. But I just get excited about talking about things because I just wanted to brush over an idea that I talked about before at length, about the difference between the Roman matronisa and the matronisa the way I understand our imahis, our holy mothers. The tzedekis. That's not how you say it. Nashim tzedkanias. Right? The righteous founders of us. The people that we come from. That's who we are. That's who we can aspire to be because that's who we are. So if you're careful not to breach the lip. Who did that? Okay, I know I'm jumping around again. The Kayan. What's the Kayan? Because I said it before, I didn't explain. What's a Kayan? He's the embodiment of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in this world. What are the Levim? What are the tribe of Levi who sang in the Beis Hamikdash? Gvura, Nekeva. It's a feminine expression of a connection to God. It's the difference between the love of fire and the love of water. The difference between the passion to get to the beloved or being with the beloved. That's the difference. Ava batanugim, the light in God, is water, the love of water. But even an Ava Rabbah is a fire for God. That's a yearning for God. That's not the experience of God, but just the incredible desire to be there. So a Kayin would be the embodiment of Ke'ilu, as if, what would God look like in the world? How majestic would he look, a Kayin Gadol? What are the priestly vestments that you cannot rend? So how do you get into that mindset of the Kayan? How do you become that HaKadosh Baruch Hu embodied? What role does that Aveda in the Holy Temple to a specific group of people, what does that have to do with me? How do you get to be the Kayan Gadol? The Rebbe speaks about everybody should want to be the Kayan Gadol. That's what we learned from Kairach, right? Okay, I got to get more into Kairach to really appreciate that. But I'm just here speculating and talking around the topic because this is what it's all about this week. If we're living with the times, tap into the energy of being a Kayan Gadol who offers the incense, where the fragrance. Okay, so what is our collar? What are the boundaries that we have in our life? Why do we not breach them? So I spoke about many times already now, the different barriers, an iron gate or a fence made out of roses, where the very fragrance itself keeps person devoted to his real purpose. So how do you achieve that purpose of being the Kayan? How do you achieve that? It's the Matronisa. It is Malchus, where you have this incredible duality that just is mind-blowing. I'm trying to figure it out. Someone could probably give me sources where it talks about it directly more. I'm just working around this topic for weeks and months. So in order to get to embody God, so to speak, to be the Kayan, of course it's involving the respect for not breaching boundaries. There's a seder. Why? There's an order. Why? Because God does things his way. How do you know what his way is? God graced us with so many detailed instructions. And how do you embody godliness in the world? So that's the idea of breaching boundaries. It's not really the focus. I just thought it was a nice image because I have this idea of the collar sort of resonates with the tzitz. The slave who wears a collar is the one who wears the tzitz. Nazer or Kodesh, isn't that sometimes called, or maybe in a different context, the crown of the king, the holy crown, which says, Kadesh Lashem, Lashem Kadesh. I get it mixed up. I think there's a machlekes about it. I found an incredible lesson from Y.Y. Jacobson on this topic. I think it was about the Rogachover. It's incredible. So we really should go find that one day. We'll all really enjoy that. But here's the idea of the same circular form as a collar or the lip of a garment. The Malchus is the Kesser Malchus, the crown of the king. So how do you wear that crown? You have to have the feminine, Eishes Chayil Teres Baila, the crown of the, okay? Eishes Chayil, the woman of valor, is the crown. So there's this duality here. The way to be able to have Adonai Sfasai, Tiftach, that God should open my lips. Fiyagid Tilasachel, my mouth will say your praise. The mouth, the lips and the mouth here are distinguished here. You open my lips and my mouth, so the lip becomes a chariot for God's praise. So that is, of course, is the key. It's a simple thing, okay? You could figure it out yourself. It's always going to be the same thing, okay? The answer is always the same. If you could figure out the greatest difference of opposites, that's always the truth. That's why they had to go into the land, we learned in last week's parasha, which I spoke about yesterday. Because it has to be the greatest difference in opposite. You have to have the circumference equaling its tangent, okay? Infinity calling it, or finite calling out to infinity. So infinity, which is gvura, the ability to conceal, that's infinity, right? It's expressed in the finite in us. But it's really infinity because the two things are intertwined. So when that aspect of infinity nullifies itself totally to the chesed aspect, to the kain gadol, to become the chariot for God's praise. So we cease to be. That's the feminine taking on this. A man has to do this really weird shift where he has to really tap in to Matronisa, Malchus, the Bittel, David HaMelech. Okay, we can't associate the femininity, with weakness. That is a very big error. The strength of David HaMelech is his ability to totally nullify himself like the sun soaring across the sky to nullify itself to God. The sun is a masculine image, but it's totally nullified to God. It's very fast soaring through space. Look it up, okay? I talked about a vortex. It doesn't stay still, okay? If you want to put the sun, what is it called? Heliocentric model of this solar system. Okay, that's already synonymous with that. The sun itself, the whole solar system, flies through space. Okay? The bittul drives it further towards where the diameter is parallel. Not the diameter. The circumference is parallel with its tangent. Ugh. Think about that, okay? Okay, so now I wanted to relate this with seemingly at random the first topic on a sheet of sources that I printed out. I haven't really learned it yet, so I don't know if it's worthwhile, but I figured I'd save it for the end if I felt like going further. I can't really read the comments. It's so bright here. I can't read it. I can't even read it. But I wanted to try and associate this with a topic that I'm looking up, and it's related to what I spoke about last week, about Yosef Atzadik and the 10 drops through his fingertips. Okay, so what is this zera that came out of his fingertips? So there's a verse that's always fascinated me, and because I found once a source for it, and I'm searching for it again. Okay, I find things at Shabbos. What am I supposed to do? I put bookmarks all the time. I get a lot of them, and some I don't get. So I found something that spoke about Er Zarul Atzadik, or maybe I found it under here. I mean, Rabbi Markel's been posting such incredible things. I got to go in the shade. So, maybe there's shade at this table over here. So I printed up a page of sources about this pasuk because I found something that said Er Zarul Atzadik. What does it mean? Maybe it's actually the first source. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see what we get here. This is like random Hashkafa Pratis episode. So, Er Zarul Atzadik, I heard meant, or I saw, I don't know, that the tzaddik is never absent of the nekeva. He always has the shlemus of both. That's the Adam. Or Zerul Tzadik means that the light of God, the that experience of infinity. Okay, I'm trying to figure out what is is. Is the experience of infinity. It doesn't have to be, you can't have infinity in one shot. It's got to be in a process. An ongoing, so that's the idea of Zerul Tzadik. I read it's a constant fulfillment that a tzaddik has, that he's never lacking the nekeva. It's always a perfect shleimus of an adam, and that's expressed by being zarua, planted within. The light is planted within him. Why planted? We spoke yesterday about the way a seed has to decay before it has its progenitive powers. So this thing I was just speaking about, right, at length. The feminine, in order to have the masculine power brought out. So the Matronisa, the earth, there becomes productive because of the Zarul Tzadik, right? Of this process of self-abnegation in order to be productive and proactive and assert oneself and create something in the world. So but it actually occurs through the earth. That's where, according to Chassidus, earth has the power of production. But how do you bring out that power? How do you make someone sing? How do you make the Matronisa sing? You have to nullify self to embody, being the Kohen Gadol. Be that, okay? Embody that. Right? Isn't that the logical conclusion of the Meraglim? We learned the Meraglim was wrong. It's wrong to just suffice with the Zerul Tzadik in the sense that I'm going to just have this experience of total perfection, always being Zerul Tzadik, which we'll see what it means. Maybe I'll get a real source here for a second rather than just speculation. So that perfection, they thought it was sufficed. The Meraglim, they thought it sufficed in a spiritual realm. Yerushalayim shel Mailo, the Jerusalem above. It will be joining. They'd missed that. They didn't realize that the only way to join, to make it fully the ultimate perfection, because it's perfection specifically revealed in the physical world. So the Yerushalayim shel Mata, the perfection on earth of the holy temple, a palace for God in the earth. That is what allows for the ultimate experience of the Yerushalayim Shel Mailo. So learning that lesson, we learn about Kerach, who said, I want to be Kohen Gadol. You tell me that it's all about God revealed in this world. Every Jew has a connection to that, he says. Every Jew was at Har Sinai when God gave his essence to us, Anechi. On the nafshi ksavis yahavis, he gives his very essence in the Torah. Zerul Tzadik. I left my paper down there. Zerul Tzadik. That's the Torah. The pneumius of the Torah is the Zerul Tzadik. You learn that, and that is the ultimate. That's the Kohen Gadol. Kerach says everyone has a connection to that, and he's right. But in this world, there's only one representative of the Kohen Gadol until Mashiach comes. Until Mashiach comes, there's one perfection in the world, embodiment of Kaviyachal, the embodiment of that, and everyone else strives to emulate and suffices with knowing that there's a person, a Moshe Rabbeinu in every generation, a Mashiach in every generation, but that also exists within me. And that's our connection with the Yechida Klalis, the Mashiach of our generation, right? There's always one. And us, the connection between that person and us is through this Nitzutz Mashiach that we have. And that is this most beautiful. The idea of a Nitzutz is beautiful. That's when we say, we call Hashem our rock. What does that mean? God's our rock. I never really understood. To me, I imagined standing on a rock in the middle of nowhere, an island, like an island in the middle of nowhere, and totally being completely dependent on God, like in a visible way. That's the way I envision it, but I learned something recently. When we call God our rock, It means like a flintstone that sparks. And our souls are the sparks that come from his flintstone. We're this stream, or Zerila Tzaddik, in the essence. That's what we have, this perfection, in our essence, in our core. If we could tap into that. So why are we so afraid? Why does my magazine speak about something so not new on the day when we have to have something new? I mean new. The Rebbe demands for us to have a new path within his Torah, to just satisfy with what we did yesterday, I mean last decade or whatever. You have to change it up. We live in a generation which is our experience of time. We're not waiting for another generation. This is our job. We have to do it. When a midlife crisis, when a person wakes up from a midlife crisis, he should look at the world when he finally gets out of that limited perspective of Mitzrayim. He should look at the world like, I'm not going to be a follower of some idiot that's running this world. I'm going to be the leader, and I'm not going to just follow. And it doesn't have to be, not everyone's going to be a politician, but if you exist within the realm of thought and Torah or philosophy or science or whatever, you be the man and you create the standards. People are so quick to criticize the community they live in. You be the leader. I'm going to pull, if I had any hair to pull out, I can't pull out my beard, I can't rend the lip. You can't destroy things that are holy. Let's read the source. Okay, it's probably getting late. I can't see the time, and my watch broke. Okay. Or Zeril Tzaddik, or Yishrei Lev Simcha, okay? Light is planted for the tzaddik, and for the upright of heart is joy. So you have this connection between joy and light, okay? That's obvious. I don't have to speak about that right now. So here's a Malbim al Tilim, okay? This is a pasuk in Tilim 97:11, okay? I think, unless that's the page on Malbim. Okay. Or Zeril Tzaddik, Shenimsa Zerua Gam Ha'elaki, that it comes out, or it's present. This is a ruah, this planting. Bam, sorry, bug just landed on my face. Shenimsa Zerua Bam Ha'elaki, that within them, within the tzaddikim, there is invested with them, like in a planting within them, a godly light. Shehu kamei zera zeruach benafshem. It's like seed planted in their souls. Okay, this resonates with the Yosef thing, okay? They're directly connected. We got to make the connection, probably. I mean, obviously, but hamuchan liparis v'harbeis, that is, this zera that is in their soul is ready to be productive, pruavu, right? The mitzvah to make a family, to have children. So they have, tzaddikim have this light, this godly light, planted in their souls that's ready to be productive. What does it mean to be productive? Im yashkuhu v'yatzruhu yavdu kezera. If you water it, and form it, and work it like seed, hamucham leparis v'rabes, when you're planting an orchard. You have to take care of it, the Malbim is teaching us here. I'm just reading this like for the first time almost. Ki mi sheshemer nafshe va'eved avedase, because someone who guards their soul and doesn't breach the lip. Okay, that's the bare minimum of if you want to be in line with God's will, if you want to be a Matronisa and really embody God, you want to be the Kohen Gadol, you want to be Kerach in the positive sense, and what his vision was of the future to come, when every person has the most intimate, direct experience of God in the physical world, okay? That is the difference between Kerach and the Meragli. They're opposites. Opposites are always the who said it, William Blake or something, I don't know. The extremes, that is like the ultimate expression of truth. Someone will look that up. I can't be a secular scholar, okay? Someone else has to do that. So someone who guards their soul and does his service, Yigdol ha'er hazarua v'yifra ad ye'er Shiva Sayim. Ooh, that's nice. Oh my goodness. This light that is planted within him becomes productive until it becomes 70-fold light. Er Shiva Sayim. You gotta love the number 70. Kamaishikasu ve'erech tzadikim ke'er neiga v'yis palesh alav ha'er hagadol hanevui. The great light of prophecy. And then he goes on to the next verse. He says, "Ubazeh er zeril tzadik." That's what makes the er zeril tzadik. Nimsa zerua gam er leki. Oh, that's the same thing twice. Oh my goodness. Okay, sorry, I printed this up a bit messed up. I just had the same source twice. I thought I'd continue. Okay, so there's something. I got a whole page of like stuff. I'm starting to go through it. This is a long process of understanding something. So just let's summarize what we learned there. Okay. In what sense is there er zarul tzaddik? It's planted in the sense that they have the ability to be productive if they were to work it and irrigate it, whatever you do to plants, I don't know. Then it would become er shiva sayim. You have the ability to take what God gives us, this air that Hashem plants for us, and be the matronisa, be the feminine, which is to give birth to something, to take the idea, the seminal idea, the er zarul tzaddik, and make it 70-fold. The seed is just a tiny thing, but the expanse of trees is massive and beautiful. And that's the dir b'taktainim that Hashem wants. That's that positive aspect of Kerach. My father calls him Zaidi Kerach because he thinks that we come from Kerach through the Shla. No, not the Shla. Shmelk of Nikolsburg. I keep saying that wrong because he's got Horowitz is also his name. We have Horowitz on both sides. So Levi, we didn't speak about what a Levi is, okay? What's the feminine? How do you bring out the 70 times the light? Okay, 70, of course, the beauty of the word Sheva is a Seveya. To be satiated, to have the higher love, the unity, the love like water, the Zerah, Er Zarul Tzadik. Water and light are very similar in Torah, in Kabbalah. They're often related. So to attain this, God gives you a seed to become satiated through, right? That's what we bring to it. We can tap into the ability through being the matronisa. That's how you become the Kohen Gadol. That's how the collar becomes the crown. The cave at the save of Gever. That's the secret of it. It sounds weird, and we got to really make it fit with our normalized view, our resistance to left-wing ridiculous ideas. Our resistance to that has to be, there's something to be said by that, by a global consciousness thing. That's where language is directed right now, idea, thought, okay? So there's something to that we have to have an answer. We're not afraid of questions, okay, in Torah. There are teachings about what's the spiritual meaning behind not having incest, for example. There's the sages, not the sages, the Rebbeim wrote about these things, also the sages. And it comes down, but the Rebbeim wrote about this. For example, Derech Mitzvah of the Tzemach Tzedek. He writes about these things. Why is adultery prohibited? What spiritual idea does that embody that's inappropriate, and in what sense? And there's a great shir, another one from Rabbi Y.Y. Jacobson, okay? I just want to briefly mention it because it's so incredible. Oh my goodness, it's slipping my mind. That's whenever I get too excited, I forget it. Oh my goodness, that's so funny. Doesn't really matter. I'll type it if I get a chance to listen to this. The other one didn't work, the video. Okay, that really was annoying. Okay, there's a lot of shiurim. I'm trying to think of which shiur was I just going to mention, and then like 5 others pop up in my head that just are, oh my goodness, watch those. Be inspired. Okay, it's a bit heavy, so I try and provide sort of like a watered down version. Not a watered down, but there's a real tzaddik version of it. But the Saveya, the Shivasayim, Shivasayim, the ability to make of something, to expand it, to make it realized in the physical world. Okay, that's the power of Matronisa, the Kohen Gadol. Okay, I say the two things in the same breath. I know it sounds weird, but that's what I was talking about before, about we have to find a way to answer that question. Gender is a social construct. We're not afraid of the question. Just have the time to look it up. Okay? We look up and we try and be sincere and honest and try and have the proper reading of the Torah and make it fit with everything else we know about Torah. If you do that sincerely, that's truth. Or an attempt at truth. If someone greater comes along, he shows you your mistake in your reasoning. And that is the process of Torah. That very process of svara, of posing an idea and showing a deeper insight that contradicts it. That is the process of Torah. And even the mistakes, so to speak, or the preliminary, or the contradictory, that's part of the process too. And at infinity, all opposites are equal. Okay? I'm still trying to figure that class that I was referencing. Okay, I'll come up with it later, I think. Anyone having to write? Oh my goodness, what did I leave over here? Okay, so it's like a little chill out few minutes because it's been a really rough time here. I couldn't sleep all night. It's like 4 a.m. That's very unusual for me. So I didn't know if I'd be able to say anything today. But thank God I've never once had nothing to say. And I used to have nothing to say. That is really weird. I fell on my face I'm talking like 20 years ago. But it's even closer. Nothing to say. My friends, Rabbi Chaim Miller and his co-editor, sometimes they team up, Eliezer Shir, they always said, and they lived like this. They said, always have a speech ready to go. And they would be asked to speak all the time because, these are the budding geniuses. I was in yeshiva with them. They happen to be Baal Teshuvos, but that doesn't make us dumb. It just means that we have to have a kickstart. We have to catch up. So they said you always have to have a speech ready to say. So now I reinterpreted that idea and it just sort of came to fruition not long ago at all, okay? That you have to always be living with ideas so you can just open your mouth and your ideas that you're living with all the time will just pour out. If you have a vacuous mind, that's not Ur Zaril Tzaddik, okay? What is the tzaddik? What is on the tzaddik's mind? It's the Torah, obviously. Okay, you can't be like the Meraglim and not go into the world. You are in the world. Don't suffice with a vision of heavenly vision, okay? When we want to make heaven on earth, that's ultimately just to simplify the idea really much. But, that is an exciting idea. It just sounds so trivial when you just say it as words, but live it. Live like Kerach, Zaidi Kerach. So always have a speech ready. What does that mean? It means, tell me what's on your mind. Isn't that what Facebook's new slogan is? Something like that. What's on your mind, Baruch? Oh, you want to know what's on my mind? I don't have the verse. Okay, some people have a zillion verses known off by heart, and that is amazing, okay? Then you could just have your own Sefaria.org in your head, and you're just like making source sheets all the time. Because what is a drush? But every time you have one word, it resonates. You just click the word, and anything you write, you learn about that word, whatever context, whatever aspect of part of the Torah, will bring out greater depth. It will. So you cannot go wrong. Just make it connect. And that is a greater insight that you contributed to the world. What could be a greater zchus than that? Have Erzrel Tzaddik, that you be productive. And here, okay, how do we relate that with the idea? He says, Ha'er HaGodol HaNevui. Oh my goodness, what does that mean? Let's read those last words again. K'mei shekasuv, V'erech tzadikim ke'er nega. The way of the tzadikim, or the shine of the tzadikim, I don't know, erech, aleph reish ches. V'erech tzadikim ke'er nega is like shining light. V'yispalesh, I don't know what that word means. Spalesh, I think it means to penetrate. Alav ha'er hagadol nevui. Yes, yispalesh, it should go through him. This great prophetic light. Okay, I was learning the halachas of prophecy and Rambam with you. Oh, I was really into that. Then I went without my svarim for a while, so I have to start carrying that around with me. We could do a little bit more and more and more. That's the Erzrel Tzaddik, when the light opens up within you. It's just pregnant and is born within you. The HaGadol HaNevui, the light that Hashem planted within our souls, is revealed in the splendor of an orchard in full bloom. Just smell that orchard. Okay, we don't pay enough attention to smell. Okay, I can't see color very good, but I can smell everything. Okay, everyone has their thing. But nobody. I'm not gonna buy potpourri or whatever you call it, potpourri. I'm not that kind of guy. But if we ever went on a stroll in I don't know, where did we do in Brooklyn? We went on the botanical gardens. Fragrant air. I mean, I daven in the boat shul when I go to the boat shul, or wherever I go. Okay, it's all just a dust ball. That's not the way a shul should be. God, give me $1 billion, please. I promise you, Blinator, that I would build a shul to make you proud. Give me $1 billion, I'll make a shul. Why not? If you were a billionaire, you wouldn't need to spend $1 billion on a shul, but you wouldn't put a lot of money into a shul. Of course you would. So God should make everyone billionaires. Make a temple in your life. Have resources at your fingertips. Have the Erzrel Tzaddik always, the Shlemus, the Nekeva is always present in an Adam. Before Adam Arishan had everything. He was joined at the hip, literally, with everything. Okay, I could start talking about that and I won't shut up. Okay, so we'll just let the Ersh V'Saim, if I'm saying that right. That's the Er HaGodol HaNevui. The satiating 70-fold light. You could have a pregnancy I think Moshe Rabbeinu was born after 7 months. That's how they managed to save him. They didn't expect him for another 2 or 3 months. I don't know, you count things sometimes, but I can never understand how you count. Like, I was in special math classes when I was a kid, and they used to ask me a simple question, like, if you counted 46, beams on a fence, I don't know, and there's so many beams on the fence, how many do you have to go to before you're like, 10 posts away? And I didn't know if you start counting. It's just like the most simple thing would bother me. Things are often simple. The truth just is in our face, and we want to make it complicated. Just 46, 100 minus 46 is what, 34? No. 46 is 64 or 54 rather. Okay, it shows you who in the world practices them. I don't do homework with my kid. I don't do math homework. Forget it. I just don't see the point. I'm horrible. My parents never sat down and told me. They bought me a workbook that I do math in on my own. I don't know. I just wanted to know. I felt so proud I could get the answers right. Okay, if I'm talking about my childhood, it's probably a good time to daven and move on with my day. So yeah, thank you for being an audience. If this was not the most brilliant share in the world because I didn't prepare anything, okay, there's what to strive for. That we should look forward to. Having a good night's sleep, being really healthy, to let the Or Zarul Tzaddik, the light, shine through us. And deeper insights will be revealed to us. I mean, everyone in his own area. I'm not telling people everyone has to be a scholar. If you're a hardworking guy, like a lot of people I know, or some people I know, very hardworking, find God in that. It's being so disciplined. Oh yeah, I was going to speak about being fat from the negative perspective, but I didn't get around to that. Maybe another time. If people are interested, type it, and I'll be more encouraged to speak about it. Because today I broke my record in weight, okay? Because not from a diet, not from, I gotta look whatever. It's just a discipline from carrying extra weight on you as something that's just, I'm not a warrior. I have to succumb to every desire to eat and I said it, you know what, it's animal-like, and I'm not gonna be involved with that. That's what, it's also based on strategies of dieting that would resonate with me, but I just started doing it this way. They call it intermittent fasting. I don't fast, okay? Nobody does this properly, fasts. Don't fast. Just don't think that you are so needy. You're Or Zarul Tzaddik. You're not so needy. You don't like 6 pieces of... Well, the fan's going on big time to combat this heat. Just turn that off. Okay, sorry about that. Get some air out in here. So yeah, if you're like Or Zarul Tzaddik, if you take that mindset, the halacha tends towards not eating before davening. Okay, the Rebbe, I had a whole big fight with everybody about this, how to interpret what the Rebbe said about not eating before davening, and that you should eat before, because it's better to daven to eat rather than to eat to daven. No, vice versa. It's better to eat to daven rather than to daven just so you can get to your cake or whatever you're going to eat. Garbage people eat. Make yourself the temple, right? Kerach. Learn from Kerach. That he wanted to be immersed in. He wanted to do the opposite than Raglan. Not suffice with this visualization. He wanted it realized. He was a fantastically wealthy, powerful person. He had this desire to be productive, to conquer. So how are you supposed to be a conqueror when you just make yourself heavy and slothful? How are you going to fight the Yitzhahara? Are you going to fight your tendency to be a sheep? Be a bull, be a lion, don't be a sheep. And there's nothing being sheepful. If I'm fascinated with Rabbi Y.Y. Jacobson, I don't think that's being a sheep. And if it is, it's a positive. It's saying Kadeshim, right? Saying Kadeshim, the holy sheep. Ah, what a beautiful image. Shemroi, God is my shepherd. Loi echsar, I'm lacking nothing. It's Or Zarul Tzaddik. He has everything. The man has everything. And the man, the Adam, the man, the woman too. Okay? Matronisa has everything. What's her everything? Her caller, not to breach her caller, to respect her calling. I wanted to actually use the word calling and caller because they resonate. But when you realize what your mission is, what garments you wear, who you represent, the Kohen Gadol, don't rend your garments, Kohen. That's what it means to embody. Divinity is respect for boundaries, embodiment of holiness, and the ultimate experience of immersion and success. I didn't speak about that enough in my last video, about the success associated with Zavas Chalav Vash, flowing with milk and honey. The idea is that God shows success in a palace in the world, in the base of English. That's the ultimate expression, okay? That is our home. Why? The Matronisa, the Kohen Gadol, the total embodiment of us. The Kohen Gadol that Korach wanted to be. To wear God's tzitz. Hashem Kadosh. should be devoted to God, sanctified to God, kedushin, betrothed to God. It's all the same word, same idea. The betrothal, the ring around your finger. Remember we spoke about extending your finger, but you wear a ring around your finger. People that know Kabbalah and know about the 7, okay, you get that number again, of course, 7 laps around the groom. Someone type what that means. It's fascinating. Okay, I don't have time to even think about it right now. 10:30, ridiculous, right? It would be easier to sit here if I could put in my air conditioning, but you wouldn't be able to hear me, so what's the point? I might as well just say goodbye for the day. And I hope everyone has the sunshine of today, this fantastic, glorious day. Should be zarua, should be planted within us, that we take the inspiration that we have in our physical experience of the world, like hopefully you should be very successful, zavas chalav vash flowing with milk and honey. I bless everyone, and myself included, everyone, all Jewish people should be successful. And those who support the Jewish people, you're always included, of course. There's only one God. There's only one religion. Okay, I think we should organize and make Bnei Noach. Whoever is with me on that, we should organize Bnei Noach. I'll take it if it's a bad thing to do because the Rebbe apparently didn't encourage it. It's a wasted opportunity. A wasted opportunity. Someone show me where the Rebbe says you're not supposed to organize, okay? Until I see it, at least I forgot it if I've seen it before. And show me where the Rebbe said, I'll try and understand it. And if it's against, obviously, I'm not going to pretend to know the direction. If the Rebbe says no, it's no. But I want to do it. To whatever extent it is permissible, I want to do it. Why? Because where are the leaders today? Where is the head of 7 billion people? How many people now? When I grew up, it was, 4 billion?